What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Before You Buy, where we break down real gameplay and everything you need to know about a new game before you spend your money. Today we are talking about Mistfall Hunter, the dark fantasy extraction RPG that people keep describing as Dark Souls meets Escape from Tarkov, and it launches in just a few days on July 29th. This one comes from a new studio called Bell Ring Games, published by Skystone Games, the company founded by the creator of Diablo. And after a massive open beta, it is carrying some real momentum into launch. And straight off the bat, here is my early read. This is shaping up to be the most approachable extraction game we have seen in years, but there are a couple of real caveats you should absolutely know about before you spend your money. Let us get into it. Now, quick disclosure before we dive in, because that is how we do things here. The game is not out for a few more days, so everything in this video is based on the huge open beta that ran across every platform, the Steam Next Fest demo that pulled in hundreds of thousands of players, and the hands-on previews from the outlets that got early access. That means the final launch build can still change things, especially performance and balance, so keep that in mind. And as always, we are keeping everything spoiler light so you can watch this worry-free. So here is the deal in plain terms. Mistfall Hunter launches July 29th on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series consoles. With full crossplay, it is a one-time purchase at $25 or $40 for the deluxe edition, and it is on Xbox Game Pass on day one, so a lot of you can play it at no extra cost. The in-game store is cosmetics only, with the developers promising no pay to win. That is the deal. Now let us talk about the actual game. The setup is quick and honestly pretty great. The world is called Weaverreach, a shattered Norse-inspired realm where the gods are already dead and their spilled blood became a golden corrupting fog called the Gilden Mist. That mist twists everything it touches, and you play as a revived hunter sent into it to harvest what is left and help mend the world, following a glowing raven that guides you through the ruins. It is moody, it is grim, and the whole aesthetic, the bleached forests, the ruined temples, the giant stone colossi looming out of the fog, all of it absolutely lands. That is your backdrop, and that is all you need. No spoilers required. So let us start with the thing you actually came here for, how it feels to play, because this is where the game surprised almost everybody. The combat is Souls-like at its core. You have got combos, stamina, dodges, and a healing flask, but it moves noticeably faster and looser than a FromSoftware game. PC Gamer put it really well when they said it plays more like the modern God of War than a traditional Souls game, and that is exactly the energy. On top of that, there is a free aim system that lets you target enemy weak points, so a clean headshot genuinely matters, whether you are fighting a monster or another player. The bow in particular got called super rapid and satisfying, though it absolutely chews through your stamina. Now, the honest caveat, a few previewers said the movement and combat polish is not quite at the level of a dedicated single-player Souls-like, and I think that is fair to expect here. But for an online extraction game, the consensus is that this combat is a real step above what the genre usually offers. Now the loop itself, because this is what you are really buying. You pick a class, you drop into a raid solo or with up to 2 friends, and the map is crawling with monsters, treasure, and rival squads hunting the exact same loot you are. As the round goes on, the mist closes in like a battle royale circle and squeezes everyone together. And then there is my favorite twist. To get out, you hunt down a strange little creature called a Returner Woodling, and killing it lets you open an escape portal from almost anywhere instead of racing everyone else to one fixed exit. Make it out, and everything you grabbed is yours to keep. Die, and you lose the gear you carried in unless a teammate picks you back up. Now that sounds brutal, but here's the thing. Loot drops constantly and gear is cheap to replace, so multiple previewers said losing a run stings way less than it does in Tarkov or Dark and Darker. On top of that loop sits a surprising amount of RPG. There are 6 classes at launch, from the Black Arrow Ranger and the Sorcerer to the Mercenary, the Stealthy Shadowstrix, the Seer, and the Withered Knight, a greatsword tank that got added during the beta. Every class has 2 separate weapon stances and its own skill tree, so the same character can be built in genuinely different directions. Between raids, you are back at camp, upgrading your facilities, trading with some genuinely weird little merchants, and everything feeds a shared stash, so the loot you extract helps every character you own. It is real progression, the kind you expect from a full-action RPG rather than a quick session game, and that camp and stash loop is exactly the hook that keeps people queuing up for one more run. So what are you actually getting for your $25 at launch? Multiple maps, including the new Hollow Grove Zone from the beta, a roster of elite mini-bosses, and big Mist Lord bosses like the Cursed Moonwane. Those 6 classes with their dual specializations, the camp building, the merchant economy, and a first season of content that starts rolling right at launch. That is a genuinely solid amount of game for the price. The one thing I would flag is that the story and the pure solo experience are on the thinner side. This is a multiplayer game first and foremost, so do not come in expecting a big narrative campaign because that is simply not what this is trying to be. All right, now the rough edges because you deserve the honest picture before you spent your money. First, performance. During the beta, players and outlets, including the gamer, reported stuttering even on high-end PCs, and that is the number one thing I would watch at launch. The developers have promised improved optimization for release, but right now that is a promise, not a patch note we can verify. Second, balance. The previewer at MMORPG.com flat out said Sorcerers seem completely overpowered with the Ranger class right behind. So if you are planning to main a melee build, expect some early frustration until the balance patches land. And third, matchmaking. Beta players complained about getting stomped by fully geared squads while running starter gear, and there is no role balancing, so you can absolutely run into a triple mage squad. None of these are unusual problems for an online launch, and all of them are fixable, but they are real, and they are the difference between a great first week and a rough one. So who is this actually for? If you love extraction games and you want a fresh take without guns, this is the easiest recommendation I have made in a while. If you are a Souls-like fan who has been curious about extraction but scared off by the hardcore reputation, this is genuinely the friendly on-ramp because the stakes are softer and the combat is going to feel like home. If you are strictly a solo story player, this one is probably not for you, at least not at launch. And if you are the type who gets genuinely tilted losing your gear to a squad of sweats, maybe watch some streams first and see how it sits with you. But here is the cheat code. If you have Game Pass, you can try the whole thing on day one for nothing extra. And at that point, there is honestly no reason not to. So here is my honest bottom line. No score, just a straight answer. Mistfall Hunter looks like the real deal. The combat is strong. The loop is clever. The price is right, and the early word from the people who actually played it is some of the most positive I have seen for this genre in years. If anything in this video looked fun to you, I think it is absolutely worth $25 at launch. If you are performance sensitive or you want the balance sorted out first, give it 2 or 3 weeks of patches and the game will still be there. Either way, keep this one on your radar because it has a genuine shot at being the extraction game that finally breaks through to everybody else. But that is it before you buy on Mistfall Hunter. You know how this goes. I gave you some pros, some cons, and my honest take, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. Are you dropping in on day one or waiting for the patches? Which of the 6 classes are you maining first? And are you an extraction veteran or is this your very first one? Hitting that like button legitimately helps the channel, and if you are new here, go ahead and subscribe so you do not miss the next one of these. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.